it started banally enough where you had like just sort of shootings that maybe into the air, no one knew what was going on, no one was getting hit. It was just shootings, and the cops weren't coming in because, you know, they were essentially saying, listen, if you guys want to do this, then you do it this way. And the movement itself remarkably did create a hierarchy, and created, not a hierarchy, but they had a sort of a passive security system in the beginning, and then it became sort of, there were some volunteer gun groups that were coming in and walking around at night with weapons, and that was, I think, never really condoned by the movement and whatever amorphous form it was, but also it couldn't be actively stopped, right? Because we are an open carry state, shockingly. I mean, this is an open carry state. So people were just using their rights, but you know, you could just sort of see it building. Gun, I don't know, fandom, gun passion, gun insanity, whatever you want to, however you want to call it. It can't just be the realm of the right? So I mean, the fact that these far left groups also feel like they want to, you know, practice their Second Amendment rights, so be it. But anytime you introduce a bunch of weapons in untrained arms into a space, it's going to lead to chaos. Literally was night and day up there. Daytime it had a very festive atmosphere. In fact, a lot of the movement originators would be reminding people walking around the neighborhood there that this was still an active zone. This wasn't a festival. You know, you're by being here, you're part of this protest. Realize that there's a potential that at any moment, you know, there's a counter movement or there's an attempt to take the park back by the police. Who knew? You know, and ultimately it did happen that way. But then at nighttime, it was, you know, chaotic. Hi, money. Cal Anderson was the epicenter of the Occupy movement. It's a large space in the densest neighborhood in the city, so it makes sense that it becomes the centerpiece of this. So at its peak, the main beneficiary absolutely was the dozens of, I mean, we actually have thousands of homeless in this city, but I would say the dozens of homeless who immediately saw the opportunity to come and actually receive the services that, as a society, we absolutely fail to provide in this city. And so immediately you saw, I think for me, that was one of the most inspirational things to watch, was that sense of need. This was a movement that was trying to be greater than providing basic services to people in need. But they recognized right away that that was something that they had to have, you know, absolutely had to do. You had clothing exchanges, you had free food stalls, and space for tents set up. Most homeless in the city do live in tents somewhere, and so it seemed like an opportunity for them to be able to find a place where, and I think at the peak, rough estimates from the people I spoke with inside the facility was they had about 80 essentially either home insecure or homeless within the place. And, you know, I think that says more about not just this city, our society, what we value, what we don't value, than anything about the movement. first of all, Amazon tinged everything. What you're seeing already is that neighborhood's dead, right? As soon as the Amazon folks stop going to work, that neighborhood's dead. And so there's no long-term thinking. It's entirely reliant for its vibrancy on a large multinational, which is nuts to me. I mean, it's like a company town. You know, they might as well be running a mine or something down there. From the police's angle, they were the ones providing the social services to the tent camps, but they were also the ones who were charged with clearing them. So it's like, you know, it's sort of a two-pronged thing. We clear them, yeah, we come in and junk all your stuff and kick you out, but we're also then directing you towards whatever limited services are available in the city. They've actually gotten rid of that program. Ironically, that was one of the budget funding cuts that they found they could use when there was all this talk of defunding. But meanwhile, that was always a controversial group because, yeah, okay, you're providing services, what limited ones are available, but you're also actively clearing out and moving on these folks. This is not a hugely diverse city. There's still a large white population. It's grown in diversity, but a lot of that has come from abroad because you have, and I think the real damage in this city is not that the sort of racial demographics have shifted. It's that there's still this incredible sort of personality homogeneity. Even though we're getting a slowly growing national diversity, ethnic diversity in this city, it almost feels more homogenous than when I first moved here 20 years ago, because you don't have a diversity of ideas. And that's a killer. Regardless, I mean, forget race, forget class. There's no diversity of ideas or thought.